There's a fire inside and I just can't hide it. There's a fire inside and I just can't fight it. Ooh. You know I'm coming for you. There's a feeling inside, let it take it over. The past is in the past, wipe it off my shoulder. Ooh. You know I'm coming for you.
I would like to apologise for the audio in this video. Some idiot, namely me, forgot to plug the remote audio base in to the main camera, so therefore the mics that we were wearing weren't actually working. So all the audio is off the normal camera microphone, so I do apologise for the crappy audio in this video. Alright guys, welcome to a special episode of Perth FourbeeFour Adventures that we're going to call SnackChat. SnackChat. And Gary's got his gob full. So here we go, snacks from the travel buddy. Crunching up in the microphone. Should sound really good.
3, 2, 1 would have been good.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, just a heads
Warning.
up before we...
Is there anything professional about what we do? No, so there's no 3, 2, 1s. Alright, so I put a question on Facebook asking anybody to ask us some questions about what we do. I think I got about 3.
and why we do it.
And why we do it.
Well, that's good. So that means every subscriber rating.
Every subscriber has given us a question, all 3 of you, so thank you. So basically all we're going to do here is sit around the fire, which is just slightly out of shot because Gary didn't want to move and get the sun in his face. And
It's behind us.
even though the sun is behind us, yes. Not quite sure how it was going to happen, but you know, that's Gary.
It bounced the gleam bouncing off your car, right?
Is that what it is? there's no mud on my 4-wheel drive at the moment. This is the first 4-wheel drive trip we've been on where we haven't actually had to engage 4-wheel drive yet.
Almost.
Almost.
But that was doing a U-turn across the Great Eastern Highway. On the shoulders a bit sloppy.
That was it. So the snacks we have are sweet and sour spring rolls. And what have you got, Brad?
Some quiche Lorraine.
Quiche Lorraine. So there you go. Thank you, Lorraine. And thank you, Bradley. So, the first question I have, excuse me for talking with my mouth full, comes from one of our subscribers, Clarissa Gunton. That name sounds familiar.
I thought she was kicked out ages ago.
Right.
She's a bad egg, that one.
Yeah, I know. So,
Give her that.
anyway, starting from my right, I'll start with Anthony because he's closest to me.
Oh, good.
I better put the microphone out so people can hear Anthony. What's been your favourite trip? And she doesn't actually say whether it's with Perth FourbeeFour Adventures or this could just be a general question. So, what's your favourite trip that you've ever been on?
I would say I did a solo trip a few months ago down to the Fitzgerald National Park. It was just good, a couple of days, camping in the national park on my own, and well, you know, that's the thing, right? Plenty of time to think, plenty of time to just do the things you want to do yourself. You know, lots of exploring, lots of driving in the coastline that would have driven the family nuts. You know, and yeah, really enjoyed it.
A lot of people ask about that area. Is it worth going 4-wheel driving in that area, or is it a good place to go and look at?
Oh, definitely. The coastline's incredible. The thing I like about it is you kind of got Albany on one side and Esperance on the other. Albany, no, what's the...
Bremer Bay?
Bremer Bay. And...
well, Albany is on one side, it's just further away than Bremer Bay.
and Bremer Bay and Esperance kind of fill up a little bit with, you know, a lot of visitors. But it doesn't seem as full in the middle there, and you know, in that little Fitzgerald area, and it's a pretty good coastline.
Awesome. Where are you, Brad?
Mine would have to be probably, well, as far as a 4-wheel driving trip, because that's what we're supposed to do, probably the 4 days we did Don Tricasto, because that was my idea. Yeah, 4 days and some, you know, it was perfect weather. You know, some great 4-wheel driving, some tough stuff, some great campsites. That's what it's all about, you know. 4 days without having to see the bitumen apart from fueling up. Yeah, no, it was really good. Get to see some more bits, and I want to go back down there and do a bit more exploring. But yeah, that, as far as a proper four-wheel drive tour, that would have to be it.
Gary?
Yeah, well, I guess the best trip I've ever been on was many years ago. I was very lucky enough to do a big lap, but we discount that and just look at the best trip that we've done together here in Western Australia. And I think it's probably the same trip that Brad's talking about when we did the summertime track. To me, that trip had everything. It was good weather, it was a great four-wheel drive trip. We come unstuck a couple of times, that made it very interesting. And it was just one of those really good feel, good vibey trips as far as I was concerned. A hell of a lot of banter. And there was some seriously, like I say, I've been around Australia. That was the softest sand I've ever been in, and that includes Bonhole Beach. Just after we crossed that river, man, that was so soft. But yeah, no, I had an absolute ball on that trip, so I think that one stands out for me.
Yeah, I think I would have to admit that would be the same one for me too. I mean, we did Black Point basically all the way through to Fish Creek. And yeah, the banter, the camaraderie, the trip itself was brilliant. There were some things that happened on that trip that never made it to camera and never made it to a video.
Oh yeah!
But we managed to talk about it just about on every trip that we go on. And there was some really hairy moments. I'm not going to go into details about what happened and where. But there were some pretty hairy moments when we were going through the bush trying to find our way through to Cowcup Hill.
That was an interesting afternoon.
And it was a very interesting afternoon, and we still talk about that trip today on every single trip that we go on. So that would have to be the best one I've ever done.
Comment of the day for that trip, James, on your mate, can I have a spotter please? You know exactly what that means?
Mate, that was the only thing that lightened the mood.
Yeah.
Speaking of James Seagram has our next question. James, you know James, he has the Big Blue Patrol and sometimes come out, and he was with us on that trip. Hence the can I have a spotter question. What was the one place? What is the one place you would always love to go back to?
I'll jump in and give these other guys a chance. Same deal. I've been in Western Australia for 20 years. The one place that keeps drawing me back, southwest on Tricasto. Hope that's how you pronounce it. Mate, I have a ball every time I go down there. I went through quite a period where I wasn't driving on sand, just wasn't doing it for me. Then we went on that trip down to Don Tricasto, and I had an absolute ball. Can't get enough of the place. So yeah, you'll get me back again and again.
Yeah, I think so for me, yeah. The Fish Creek side. I mean, we did, when we filmed that was what, September last year? And we did October. We did the tag along before that. I think we'd done the Jaeger up track about 3 times in about 4 weeks. And I think by the 3rd time we were coming out, I think we'd had enough of the ruts and the bouncing and all that. All the cars were getting hammered. But the Fish Creek side, if you haven't been, get down there. Magic tracks. You don't need a hugely modified four-wheel drive. I'm actually trying to drag my sister and my brother-in-law down there with their camper. Unfortunately, they've seen what we do on some of our trips, and they think, no, I'm not following you anywhere. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, we take beginners down on that track on tag-alongs. Next year's tag-along down there is going to be epic, because that is the trip. I'll drop it now. That is the trip we will be doing. What we filmed those 4 days is what we will be doing as a tag-along next year. So get on it. When we release it, probably in a month or so's time.
When we actually get our asses into gear and sit down and organise it.
In other words, back to the pub for another lunch. Yeah, there are more tracks past Fish Creek that I want to go and have a look at. I've been there once before, and right down on that south coast, because there's some magic little spots down there. You can sit and camp right on the ocean. But yeah, from what we've done so far, I'm looking forward to the rest of this year. We've got some epic trips planned, but so far from what we've done, have to be Fish Creek.
Anybody?
Yeah, for me it's the coastline. I'm heading north. It's the coastline between Quobba and Ningaloo. I just can't get enough of that place. We were last up there in May, and you know, the four-wheel driving is just beach and dune driving. There's nothing too fancy about the four-wheel driving, but the I like the remoteness of it, and I like there's a lot of hidden gems up there. You know, the old Norwegian whaling station on the beach there, the ruins of that, and
Norway? How far north are you going?
there's a whale. Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
I couldn't help myself.
And
He just heard Norway and thought, wow.
It's a long way north.
It's something to see, you know, and you know, I know that there's going to be a whole bunch of changes in that area now with the depot taking possession of the coastal strip for managing the tourism and the camping and everything. But hopefully they just don't change it too much, because part of the allure is the remoteness and the difficulty in getting to those places, because they're not overcrowded and they're not full of, you know, they're not easy access to a bunch of tourists. And you know, it's an achievement to just get there and see it. And if they take that away and they make it too easy, then you know, part of the allure is gone. Not just because there'll be more people there, but because it doesn't feel like as much of an achievement anymore. You know?
Yeah, interesting. Well, mine would be, again, same with you guys, in the Don Tricasso National Park, but in the specifically, it's a hard word to say after one ginger beer, and 3 spring rolls. But to be specific, the Jaeger Dune system itself, when you come out through that bush track and see that dune, although the dune's been pushed down now, which is a bit of a shame, but the challenge of getting up that dune, and then it just opens up into this big flat area, just marker posts either side, and dunes as far as you can see. That would be the place I always like to go.
Just while we're a little bit off topic, just while we're on that, the three of us seem to have the same, that's my favourite. Right? Just a quick one for the viewers. Do you think it's really the actual four-wheel drive or the destination, or the fact that we've had so much fun on those particular trips? Because the only reason I'm saying that, it's a magnificent place, don't get me wrong, and I think that's probably a big part of why they're my favourites. But I think it's the fact that when we've gone down there together, whether it be leading a tag-along tour, whether it just be the three of us, or whether we've had other people along with us, we've just had an absolute ball in those areas.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I'll jump in on that, mate. That would be my, you know, like a pretty close second to me. I don't think it's, and I've never been on a trip down there with you guys, but love that area. You know, it is a challenge, and there is great four-wheel driving down there, but there's also so much to see and do and experience. And you know, any trip with mates is always going to be a good trip, or it's going to be enhanced from what it would otherwise be. But it doesn't take away from that area at all. That area is incredible.
Yeah, no, that's good. I just wanted to throw that one out there for us. I really appreciate your input there, Anthony, because it does just kind of seem like that's our favourite spot there.
Yeah.
So no, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. All right, I'll throw one that hasn't come from a viewer at you. What's your biggest bugbear about the current four-wheel drive scene? Gary?
About the current four-wheel drive what?
Scene. This one will open up a few eyes.
Okay, I'll try not to rant. My biggest bugbear, I think it's a good thing that there's more and more people getting into the four-wheel drive scene. But B, my biggest bugbear is there's more and more people getting into the four-wheel drive scene. No disrespect to any of the viewers, a lot of them haven't got a clue. A lot of them come from the rev head part, so instead of getting their Commodore or their Falcon and tearing up on the side of the road, they think it's absolutely spectacular to get their $2,000 four-wheel drive, get it out on the bush track and just rip it up as hard as they possibly can, and it's an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Sorry?
End rant.
Rant over.
Oh, I think that's only a pause for breath. Yeah, I 100% agree with Gary. We all are on the Facebook pages a fair bit, and you know, we are, when we're filming this now, Perth has just received nearly 300 mil in the last 4 weeks, and the amount of idiots that are going to go power lines, Brunswick, Harvey, and then in 6 weeks' time they wonder why Depot shuts these tracks down, because they just tear them up. You know, we've all seen the what happened to Harvey Dam when one of the other Facebook pages had a day down there, and
Waruna, you mean?
no, and Harvey as well. It's happened a couple of times, and they go down and shoot videos of idiots doing stupid things, and they just destroy it. Another bugbear of mine, and it's been going for years, and I'll be honest, it almost broke me, and that Jeep nearly wasn't a Jeep, because I'd had a gutful of the actual industry itself. I used to work in the industry, and we're going back 10 years, and you'd pull up outside a four-wheel drive shop and everyone had a four-wheel drive. You could walk in, oh yeah, they're cruiser, patrol, whatever. Everyone knew, yep, oh yeah, I know that car, I know what motor. You walk into ARB, TJM, any of that, they haven't got a clue. They will open the catalogue and go, oh yeah, that's what we can do for you. And they got no idea. You get people walk in and go, oh look, build my car, and they'll throw the catalogue at it. Or we get questions all the time on the Facebook pages. What suspension do I run? Well, it depends on what you're going to use it for. And then you get experts. You get a lot of experts on, as we all know, on every page in Facebook. You get a lot of experts, but there are dedicated experts on there. That's why Paul came up with the four-wheeler for beginners page, because you get a lot of idiots out there, and you do get a lot tired of it. But yeah, it makes it hard. Everyone's struggling at the moment for parts, for bits and pieces. A lot of people know my car's been off the road the last few months, or confined to black top, because I'm waiting for suspension. I'm still waiting for some of it. I've got most of it. Thanks to the guys at Plug Suspension. It's not their issue. They're middlemen, so they've done a great job. But everyone is under the pump, so getting parts, and especially for a Jeep, because everything's going to come ex-US or be made. My coils are custom made, so there's a huge wait time. But yeah, a lot of people. But in overall, the community and those that are in it are really good. People get around. You'll hear a story of someone gets all the gear stolen, and next thing there's 25 people going, oh, I'll give you a snatch strap, I'll give you shackles, I'll give you this, that, and the other, and that's really good. But there are still that element which I would like to see gone. But unfortunately,
mine's a bit of a crossover into like camping, right? But what annoys me the most at the moment is just because the way things are, the ordeal you have trying to get a booking, in any sort of short notice on any campsites anywhere, and the fact that there's a lot of people that are playing the game and doing what they have to do to get their booking to make their holiday happen, but that results in a lot of these campsites being empty for a period of time, because they're booking out a whole 2 weeks because they want the 5 days at the end, and they can only start booking 6 months from that period.
In fact, you've got to book for a campsite now. It says a lot.
Yeah,
Through a depot, you can't just roll up and find a bit of bush.
And the trouble is, you find some of these people are booking a spot there, and a spot there, and then they'll decide closer which one they're going to take, and those other two bookings remain empty. That's why people, when they rock up at camp places that are supposed to be fully booked, and they're 3/4 empty.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
And I don't know what the answer is, but it's just taken a lot of this, the spontaneous nature of being able to just, oh look, we've got a weekend, let's go, grab the family and go. You could probably still find places if you get, sort of, like this out in the bush and just pick a spot sort of there. But I don't know. That's the thing that annoys me the most, is just really being limited in your choices when you do want to get away at short notice, and you haven't booked 12 months or 6 months.
It's not camping when you get a bay, because people love their pine poles, and they stick bays everywhere, and you back your car or whatever in there, and you got someone next to you. That's not camping, because you can hear what they're doing in their caravan or whatever, and it's just no, you don't know. That's why we come out here.
Yeah, I'm the flip side of that. I haven't booked a campsite to go away four-wheel driving or camping. Got to be 25 years. Having said that, I travel with me, or I travel with these guys. We don't need the facilities for families and stuff like that.
All right, a quick break while we change batteries in the camera and Anthony refreshes his bit. My biggest bugbear would be a simple one, and that's these people that like to brag, especially on Facebook, that when you put something up about a track that you did, I did that track in two-wheel drive. what is the point of buying a 4-wheel drive if you're just going to do a track in 2-wheel drive? Not only is it stupid, it just destroys the track. And a classic one was some time ago when I think we did the Holland track. And some bloke turned around on Facebook and said, I did that track years ago in 2-wheel drive. Well, it was probably just a dirt track years ago. And you probably could, but I challenge anybody to try and do that track from one end to the other in 2-wheel drive. Really do.
Especially the Hyden, Mount Holland to Hyden end.
Especially from the Mount Holland to Hyden end. Go for it. Knock your socks off. I want to film it.
I was thinking of 2-wheel drive. When you got to a point where you couldn't go forward because of the water and you couldn't get out the ruts going backwards.
Yeah, that would have gone really well in 2-wheel drive, wouldn't it?
2-wheel drive, that would have been sweet.
Didn't Lachlan try it? Did it well?
Yes, Lachlan did. Tried to go through a bog hole, didn't you, Lachlan?
Didn't work well.
Speaking of Lachlan, I have here not a question but a thank you for helping me grow in confidence in my 4-wheel driving and getting used to the big Datsun. I thank you for the amazing trips and the awesome banter during those trips. I can't wait for the next one. Can someone invite Lachlan on another one?
Well, I didn't think we were going to.
No.
Actually, I'll invite him because I do like to have. We've got to have some light entertainment.
That's right.
And
So someone to
anyone
pick
that's
on.
got a
Sorry,
Y62, anyone that's got a Y62 that wants to drive it into water,
In 2-wheel drive.
into wheel drive, that's classic. That's a gem.
In Lachlan's defence, his car decided to go out of 4-wheel drive into 2-wheel drive in the middle of a bog hole. So, not a good plan.
Once you actually got it going, I tell you what, the Y62 sounded good about 6,000 RPM because he wasn't hanging around.
It came flying out of that bog hole. So thank you, Lachlan. You didn't actually give us a question. Good on you, mate. Next question from Chris Ainley. Best piece of equipment you've ever bought and worst? I can answer this question with one word.
Yeah.
Jeep.
Yeah, actually.
Fits the best and the worst. There you go.
Yeah, dead set. Oh, love
All right,
it.
Anthony?
Oh, you're going to have to give me a minute, mate, to think about that one.
No?
Dude drives an Amarok, just say Amarok's home, yes.
Well, I can throw mine out
Yeah.
there, apart from being the Jeep. Worst piece of equipment I've ever worked, and I don't normally drop brand names, but I will on this particular occasion, the Wanderer gas stove. I've had 2 of them. Neither of them lasted 2 trips. The first one I bought was a 3-burner stove. I thought, great, I can fit 2 pans on this, no problem at all. Within 1 trip, 1 burner packed up. Within 2 trips, the 2nd burner packed up. Excuse me. And in the 3rd trip, I had 1 burner left. So I threw that stove out and bought another one. It was on special. It was fantastic. It even had a little toasty griller in it. It was brilliant till we got out on the whole track. Lost 1 burner. And the other one was only working half good, and all I could use was the toasty. And all it did is burn 1 corner of the toast. So that's that's my worst. And the best would be having a decent 12-volt system to be able to run a fridge, run an oven, run camp lights, charge camera. That's my best and worst.
I think for me, best, not so much best, but game changer would be the travel buddy. I mean, sit down here or have lunch. It's bloody cold out here at the moment. As you can see, we're all rugged up. But to have a hot lunch or a hot dinner, or if I can't be bothered pulling the oven out or the stove out and cooking on that, I just throw whatever I was going to have for lunch in there. Half an hour, cook, done, and it's nice and hot. You can get sausage rolls, you can get creative. I've seen people cook roasts in them. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. But you do need a good 12-volt system to run one because they do suck some power. I don't think I've destroyed a fair bit of gear over the time, but that's more just me. I don't know if I've had a worse bit of gear as such. I've replaced all my King stuff before it's let me down. So I'm fairly lucky like that. Like I've gone away. I don't think I've actually got anything Kings anymore. But not to say it's bad. It's just a bit hit and miss.
It's not for you.
No, it's not. It's not for me. I like the name brands. But yeah, no, I don't think I've really had a worse bit. But yeah, it's more just what I've destroyed over the years, and I've learned. And I'm one of these people that researches. For you ask my missus, I'm on the phone researching. She says, "What are you looking at now?" Oh, something.
He's on the phone all the time. I'm not quite sure what he's
usually
researching.
pornography, but hey, research.
Research is research, all right. Doesn't matter where you get it.
Well, what about you, Gary?
Well, I can start with the worst piece of equipment ever. And hey, I'm a supporter of budget equipment, budget modifications. I run bits and pieces of King's. But the absolute worst piece of equipment, King's table. Perhaps you can see it in the background. No, you probably can't. It is without a doubt the worst piece of equipment that you could possibly buy as far as a table's concerned. You can't break it. God knows I've tried. But at the minute you put something that's more than 3 kilos on, the bloody thing falls apart its neck. Like, it is absolutely hopeless. So there's your winner for worst. And I think probably the best piece of equipment, yeah, it's not going to be an accessory, the lockers. The e-lockers. Everyone locks it to Jeep. Still, in my opinion, one of the greatest four-wheel drives off the shelf that there is. So yeah, go argue about that, you lot. But let's see another standard vehicle do it. But putting the e-lockers in it just made it next level. No, that's because yours aren't real lockers. You press a button, they're on. You turn the button on, they're off. But yeah, no, I think that's pulled me out of the manure a number of times.
So have we.
A fair few times too.
What about you, Anthony?
Well, I would say the most disappointing for me is the Bilstein suspension that I put on. So I got 50,000 Ks out of one of the struts before it started leaking, and really expected more than that. And then overall, for all the praise that people with the same vehicle have given them, for the ride and everything else, overall, I'm underwhelmed by the dampening performance from the struts and shocks themselves. So there's not too many options. And then the other thing was too, I probably would have lessened the blow a little bit if the guys had been, they did give me some support, Bilstein, when I was on the side of the road and I had a leak and I was doing these corrugations up north and it was a bit of oil coming out, and that was handy. But and the first thing I did when I got back down to home was buy a new strut and replace a new one in, and then I thought, okay, so now we'll fix up the old one as a spare. But even with the, what they say is well below what should be the serviceable life, that they're made to handle a full driving and abuse. They didn't really want any warranty for that one, and so that was a bit disappointing. The best thing I ever did to the vehicle, I don't know if you call it a piece of equipment, but really is the tune, right? Because being a common rail diesel, late model common rail diesel with some of the systems that they have and things like that, there were reliability concerns, genuine reliability concerns, and it's not about the performance boost for me. It's about making sure that when I'm on a remote track somewhere and I need the vehicle to be able to get me off the beach or wherever it is, it's not going to go into the home. And that's what that tune's really delivered for me. So that's really the most beneficial thing, because it just changes the usefulness of the vehicle from something that you don't trust, that you're worried about constantly, that could let you down, to something that now I don't even have to think about it. That's out of my mind, and I can just focus on having a good time and where I'm going.
Dude, we drive Jeeps. We're not confident of getting anywhere.
I struggle just to get home from work. Every time I pull up at the set of lights, I wait for it to go. It happens every now and then.
Always keeps you on your toes. Driving a Jeep has a little cough or a splutter, and you think, what was that? What's that?
That's right.
What's that?
A noise, a rattle, anything.
Every set of traffic lights.
How much is this going to cost?
Please be green. Please be green.
Yeah, but with the Jeep brakes, you're no guarantee you're going to stop at that
That's
anyway.
right.
So,
That's right.
If the car conks out, that's like an auto braking system.
All right, and just a final word from our friend James, who came in a little bit later on and came back with not a question, but a thank you for the experience I have had with the crew and the knowledge that you have all shared. So, not a problem at all, James. It's always been a pleasure having you on with our trips, and we know that James is going through a bit of a rough time at the moment, and we wish you all the best, and hopefully when this video comes out, James will be all fit and healthy again, and he'll have to come back out on another trip with us, I think. We'll definitely invite James out.
Absolutely.
Actually, we could invite James and Lachlan and have twice the fun.
We could do. I'm getting quite a collection of zip ties,
gotta
so
say,
I
I
need to
need
get
to
rid
I'll
of them
have
a
to
little
get
bit.
more zip ties.
You need to go and buy another bag of cable ties.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this little snack chat that we've had around the campfire. And hope to see you on our next adventure. Cheers, guys.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.